Alright. Yep, that's recorded for you. Okay, so, tell me, how do you approach a problem like this? How you start it? What do you know? Tell me something about it.
First, you figure out which one of the normal equations it's going to be.
Which normal equation is it? So what is this guy?
It is the first one.
What's that called?
Quadratic.
This is a quadratic. How do we know?
If you get
To the two. To the two. It's squared. So what do you already know it's going to kind of look like? It should look like a U. You already know that. You're going to want you to get to a point where you picture these in your head. Okay, so we know that it looks like a U. Okay, what else do we know? What do we got to do next?
Then you just kind of take your numbers and plug them in.
Take your numbers and plug them in. Okay.
So what I do is I write down the four things that we're looking for, A, B.
That is an excellent thing to do. A, B, H, K. I like it.
And then I just go plug and chug and just kind of fill it
It's
in.
a little bit of plug and chug. There's a little bit of something goofy that's happening here. What's A? Negative 1/2. Do you know what that does to your graph? Shrinks it. How do you, what do you mean by shrinks it?
Negative 1/2 would make it a
Stretch.
like what it
Is it a stretch or is it a compression?
Stretch.
Think about the slope. Always go back to a line. If you had a slope of 1/2, what would that do to your line? Would it flatten it out or would it make it more vertical?
I don't know. Flatten it out
It flattens it out, right? Because normally we have 1/1.
instead of and you're doing half of that, so it's half
So this is going to be vertical compression. It sounds really fancy. Anything else happening with this 1/2? This negative 1/2? This negative, also negative. Negative, yes. So how do we say that? It's going down, you know that. We're going to talk about that. But like, what is it, what do we write? Yeah, something about timber, I don't know. You think they like, we're in a forest? Maybe we got trees in that song, I'm not sure. How do you say that? What's actually happening? Yes, that's what you want. Oh, I see. You want to say it. Come on, tell me what it is. What does it start with? Starts with an R. Think geometry class. Reflect.
Oh, right.
And what is it reflecting over? It's reflecting over X. You do need to specify that because there is something that reflects things over the Y. So, what about B?
-1. Yeah.
So, what is that?
I mean that
See, wouldn't that be it moves across the axis after? Is that's
So here's the thing. Your notes, didn't I like gray out B for most of them?
Yeah, because
B only matters in which one?
the one that's the one here.
The thing with the thing and the place with the stuff?
Yeah.
That square root.
We're gonna take a little side note. You ready for a side note?
Yeah.
Side note. Boop. Onto the side.
Wow, it's a side. Like right now.
Side note. We have negative 1/2. Negative X is at +3. +3 squared. +1. Negative 1/2 is totally cool. If I factor out a -1 in here, what does that leave me with? I don't know. When you factor something out, you're just dividing it. It would, yes, it would change this to an X -3, right?
Yeah.
And these are being multiplied together, yes? So that means that I can put my squared with this guy, and I can put my squared with this guy. What's -1 squared?
That's one. Yeah.
These are the exact same equations.
Right, so even if it was reflected in anything.
So you shouldn't have a b in a quadratic. You should only have a b in a square root, because you can eliminate it in a quadratic, okay? You can eliminate it, but it changes your H. It changes your H. Okay, thank you, Mama.
Wait, why can you eliminate it you eliminate it if it's negative?
Because you can factor it out, and a negative 1 squared is just a positive 1, so it just changes this guy. Okay? So what's my H value then? Your H. What would you be?
The root would be up, or is it still
H is 3, or H is negative 3. It depends on
Oh, you don't
how you view it.
Does it matter that much?
As long as you know what about H. H is a little goofy. H is, because Miss Holly's your teacher, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
You like that? That was good.
that's a good one.
What does this do to your graph?
Makes it move, the opposite way makes it go positive, right? Or goes to the positive?
So it shifts it, it moves it, it shifts it how?
If it's negative, right?
If it's going negative, this is negative, it actually goes positive, so it shifts it to the right 3 units, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly, you can write it just like that, I don't mind. So we know it's gonna go 3. And then what about my K? Digit 1, what does that do? Move to what? Yeah, it shifts it up 1, good. So what is your POI? Your point of interest. In this case, it actually is a point of inflection. That just means it's changing from increasing to decreasing. What's your point of interest right here? What's the most? Where's your starting spot? Ah. You finally copied down and actually looking at it.
I don't know.
Like these guys right here.
Oh, okay.
Because if that's a negative 3, this is going to be a positive 3, and K just stays the same because K is fluid.
So when you're making your point, it's your H and K.
So it's always H and K. So you're going to go over 3 and you're going to go up 1. That's your POI. And then we have to use this guy to help us with the next point. Kind of like slope. But you can't do the normal down 1 over 2. You can only ever go over 1 because these are square, they're a little different, they're a little goofy. So I can go down a half and over 1. Down a half and over 1. Yes?
Yeah,
Yes?
that could make sense.
I'm really excited.
You kind of lost me with the B, but other than that, it's good.
Okay. Let's see one would be worse. Still got factors though.
Right on.
Oh man. 3 is gonna stay 3, but it's gotta be in parentheses here. So if I take out a negative 1 from this, what does it change this to?
Yeah, it just switches the front of the thing. Okay.
Okay? That's all it does. That's all it does. I'm gonna pause real quick. I don't need to waste your time. Alright. Tell me what you know. What do I start with?
Start with,
What is the general shape of this guy? What is this guy? It is a root that is squared. It is a square root. What do they look like? What do they look like? It looks like, what does the graph look like? No. This is the inverse of it actually.
it's one of,
4 minutes? That's it? Yep, making fun of you because you're not paying attention. Half of us that way forever. Half of us that way forever. Gotta know the general shape. Alright. What's your ABHK?
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Thank you.
know it's like a really weird thing to say.
Kind of weird. Don't mind it though. What's my A?
3.
What does that do to my graph? Makes it bigger. What do you mean by that? Does it pull it up or push it down?
Hold it up.
Put it up.
Okay. How about B?
Wow.
B is -1. Can't take the square root of a negative, right? So we can't eliminate it. It's still there. What does that do to my graph?
Everything.
No.
Flat.
It reflected over what?
The Y.
Yes. Reflect over Y. Beautiful. How about H?
H plus 2. H plus 2.
Dos, which moves it how?
To the right.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Why did we go to the left? Because Miss Holly is backwards. I like to moonwalk. It's my favorite thing. I'm going to do a reverse of whatever you think I'm going to do. I can't believe this is not me on the skill. I have a lesson in geometry. I moonwalk 4.
Is it? Are you going that way because it's -2?
No, you're going that way because it's a positive 2. H is always reverse of what you think it's going to be because Miss Holly is reverse where K is cool. K is normal. Nice. Killian's pretty straightforward. Whatever she says goes. So if Killian says she's going to go +1, she's going to go +1. Yeah. That's real. That's real life.
Go +1, you're actually going to go -1.
Yeah, because I'm a little cray-cray.
Difficult.
I am difficult. That is perfectly. Whatever makes you remember it, I do not care. All right. So then, what is my point of interest?
2-1.
It is so close to 2-1. It's -2-1. Because Miss Holly's a pain in the tuchus. I gotta be a little backwards. I gotta be different. It's so I'm gonna go -2, and I'm gonna go 1. How do I get my next point though?
So it's just up that 1 over 2.
Up 3.
Oh, 1. Oh my god, dang.
Wow.
My life is so
Up
good.
3.
That way.
No, come
Oh,
on.
left 1.
Isn't that nice?
No way. Why would you just keep going?
This is basically your slope. 3 over -1. 3 over -1. Isn't that nice?
You start at maybe.
Yeah, you know. We gotta start at opposite of HK.
But when we go
Opposite
up
Holly.
Opposite of
K.
Chase.
Can you go up one more time?
Say what?
Like, can't you go up or over one more time?
You can't.
Why?
You can only ever go left or right one of these because they're not linear.
Oh, that's why.
They're not linear. Linear is the only, and actually it works for absolute values
Yeah,
because of that, because they are linear and just flips half the other half.
Yeah.
But it only works for, that's a great question, I'm glad you asked
Yeah,
that.
'cause it made a line. I was
If you
wondering.
can only go left or right one, that's why on the last one, you went down a half and over 1 instead of going down 1 and over 2. That doesn't work for quadratic. I'm so glad. Alright, we good? We good? Good enough?